What's up, guys? It's Diggle from SGN here to let you know what's going to be going down with this new podcast called The Seventh Realm that I just started alongside Thomas, who let me know in the comments once that he wanted to do a podcast as well. And I've been thinking about doing one for a long time, so it was just the perfect match. He's a very knowledgeable guy who knows a lot about Mortal Kombat. It's probably his number one passion, as he's said many times, so it was just the perfect fit. So hopefully you guys will enjoy it. And this first episode is divided into 3 parts because we went to about 3 hours long, and we just wanted to cut it up to make it a little bit easier for you guys to enjoy. So, without further ado, enjoy the podcast, guys. What's up, guys? It's Diggle from SGN, and this time we're going to be doing something a little bit different on this channel. For quite a while now, I've been wanting to do a podcast, and luckily, a guy left a comment on one of my videos, and he was talking about how he also wanted to talk about some Mortal Kombat into a podcast. So we decided to get this thing together. We're going to be talking about a lot of different topics, starting off, of course, with MK9 in this episode. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my friend Thomas to the Seventh Realm.
What's up, guys?
And I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to Mortal Kombat games, and as I said, we're going to talk about Mortal Kombat 9, the first thing I always look to is the roster. And that might be because of the big reveals that comes before each game. Everybody looking forward to seeing, their favorite character, what's going to happen with their characters, and which character's going to be announced first and all that stuff. But let's go ahead and talk about the roster, what you think of it. Do you like it? And just give me your thoughts in general of what you thought of the MK characters that were in arguably the best Mortal Kombat game of all time.
Yeah. I'm going straight for the roster. I think it was just pretty much a rehash of MK3, but that's not a bad thing either. It was a pretty decent roster then. And when it first got revealed at E3, I had no idea what was coming for. It's like, it could have been a continuation, not really, but I just like, I remember the first 8 people were Sector, Molina, Johnny Cage, Kung Lao, Sub-Zero, I want to say Scorpion, and then Raiden. But yeah, that roster was pretty stacked out.
Yeah, I think they did a great job of really getting pretty much not just all the fan favorites, but really all the characters that were extremely relevant to the first part of the story. There were some characters in there like Shiva that they probably could have left out because she wasn't, nobody really liked her from the original games, at least not from not the people I know and I've talked to, but they did a good job, I think, of really keeping the characters that were actually relevant. And I would like to see Motaro, of course, just because he was such a weird character. But overall, I think they did a very good job with the roster.
Yeah. It's hard to... When they did that thing with Motaro, it's just, you can't say you want to be all about the recreation of the first trilogy, then not have everyone there.
Yeah, considering he was the only sub boss in MK3, so
Yeah.
But I also understand why it was definitely a difficult. And based on what they've all said, is a very, very difficult thing to do to have somebody like that with 4 legs because he's completely different to everybody else. But at the same time, I think the technology was probably there. A lot of people, like the guys in the Nethercast, call him lazy a lot of times, and I think that a lot of times that might be the case with unfortunately with NetherRealm Studios. But in this one, I think I'll give them the benefit of doubt and say everything else in the game when it comes to the rosters and all that stuff was so fleshed out. Everything looked so great, and the characters were all very unique, in my opinion, that I'm not going to complain too much about it.
Yeah. And it does open way for new characters to run through for another sub box, hopefully in the next game. But that's all you can do is just hope for the best.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. With them, I mean, we'll talk about this maybe in a later podcast, but I have mixed emotions going into MK11. I don't know exactly what to expect. I was extremely hyped up for MKX, and that was a big disappointment, to be honest with you guys. But overall, MK9, apart from the roster, what do you think is probably the most important part of the game that you really enjoyed the most?
Roster. I want to say story mode, but I want to hold off on that one for now because
that's a big one.
You can go forever. Yeah, that's the one you can go forever. I don't know. MK9 was probably my second favorite game just because it has a special meaning to me. You take the fact that it was the first game I actually bought myself, and then like I worked hard for this game, and then it took me forever to beat the whole thing. Technically, still haven't yet, but on hey, that challenge tower is hard, and I don't have a 360 to just go on and play. Okay, today I'm gonna beat it. Like, nah, I'll just leave it alone. It's too far gone. Give it about 10 more years, I might go back and beat it.
I mean, what do you
No,
when the game first came out? What did you play on? 360, PS4, PS3, or what?
only in 360.
Only 360. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, me too.
yeah. I remember just getting the game. It was like that was like my life for a while, and the fact that I'm the one my family who loves it the most is like I beat everyone on a fair trial, like hand to hand combat. It's just I beat everyone.
Mm-hmm.
You throw in the challenge tower or the test your luck. It's like, oh, I suck at this game.
100%. Yeah.
Isn't Yeah. You're so good when you play by yourself against a computer that someone beats you because you're playing test your luck, or that you play online. It's like, ooh, that was really bad.
Yeah, luckily for me, I always
Um,
had such bad internet that I never actually went ahead and played online. So I never took my lumps in that way. I mean, I did a few games here and there, but I was just blaming on the lag. It was definitely never my skill, being too trash or anything like that. It was always the lag's fault. That was always my issue.
that's the thing too. Like that was the first game I actually played online with too.
The first the
Uh,
fighting game, you mean, or just in general, really? Like what?
in general too.
Really?
Like
Okay.
yeah, that was the first Mortal Kombat game and first game I played online, and
Hmm.
that's kind of where I found my best gameplay character overall. My best friend knows who that is, but it's like you. um, I learned so many secrets from online just from playing other people who knew. So it's like kind of be back in the arcade and like, hey, did you know you could do this? I'm like, no, I didn't know Bay Battles was a thing in this game. I just thought it was fatalities and done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wish I would stay friends with that guy on Xbox Live, but I forgot. But, but overall, like that was just it was good to play online because you had the King of the Hill modes, you had the avatar you can customize for it, you had the just so many things you could have done online. Well, not so many, just so many ways to talk to other people online was so good.
Yeah, I actually really, really liked. Of course, like I said, I had bad internet, so I never really got to really dive into it. But one of the things I really liked was
Mhm.
the fact that in King of the Hill mode, you can sit there and you can watch people as they played. You can kind of learn their styles, and the biggest thing is when you watch somebody, you realize that person is without a doubt the best player in that group. You can kind of realize what
Mhm.
he's doing that you maybe didn't really think of doing with that specific character, or even you can find ways to counter those characters and just kind of improve yourself in general. Not just playing against that specific character, that specific person, but really understanding different mechanics of the game, different ways you can exploit certain weaknesses in your opponent and really improve things that you're weak at. So I really liked King of the Hill's idea there. Of course, like I said, unfortunately, I never got to enjoy it that much. But the idea was there, and I
Also,
hope that continues to be in future Mortal Kombat games.
yeah, I think first of all, I think it's gonna be regardless. Now it's too big not to have.
Yeah, that's probably the
But they've
biggest one
done, they
online.
took other things. Yeah. But on top of that, though, I was completely opposite. That's the thing. I was there just for the story mode and the characters. I wasn't there for the. I played online, but I wasn't good online. I didn't really study my character, my people. It's just like, um, now best. My friend will tell you now, like he would watch me do the same thing over and over again that he knows how I play all around together. So if you ever play me online, just know that I'm gonna go in for a jump kick or a jump punch, and all he does is just duck and uppercut now, even in Injustice. Like
Same
I'm
thing
that
every.
predictable. Like every fighting game, he's like how do you know I was gonna do this? Like Chauncey, the same thing every time. Like come on,
Well, that's good and bad.
no,
That's good and bad in my opinion. But you go ahead and I'll give you my opinion on why that's good and bad. You go ahead.
no, go for it.
Yeah, I'm saying like when you're playing against somebody that you play against constantly, like for example, if you're playing with your
Mhm.
friend or I was playing with my brother and stuff like that, then they eventually learn how to beat you and stuff like that. That's whether it's in Mortal Kombat or I play FIFA a lot, so that's a big deal as well. If I'm playing with friends, they know exactly I'm going to turn, what type of shot I'm going to do, all that kind of stuff. But when you're playing online, I feel like when you're playing against people you don't really play against often, it's good that you've drilled yourself in that same mechanic, that same system, that same game plan you want to use to such a degree that it basically becomes your second nature. It becomes instinct for you because a lot of times, and at least I'm garbage at these games, but to me it seems like when I think too much, that's when I make mistakes. I get nervous and I make mistakes. Whereas if I'm going on instinct, that's when things go really well. So that's why I think if you're playing against somebody you know, they're going to be able to use that against you. If you're like a pro player
Right.
who's doing tournaments and these guys study each other, like if your E-Sheet's going on against, I don't know, Sonic Fox, then they know what you're going to be doing. But if you're just playing against random guys online, I think you'll probably do well if you have those instincts built in to where it's literally just you do it, you just react instead of having to think about stuff
Exactly.
and doing it. Yeah.
Like there's so many games you'll win online because they only play you that one time and it's done.
Yeah.
Versus playing the same person over and over again. It's like, no, this guy's literally better because I don't want. I'm not changing. I am not changing for no one,
Exactly. That it is what it is.
even for my own sanity.
Especially, I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't have that much time to play. So a lot of these times, I have that hour, maybe 2 hours a day to play whatever I want to play. Maybe not just only play Mortal Kombat, but play something else as well. So it's not like you can develop these, diverse styles that you can use for each character. For me, it just kind of becomes, I know this character's projectiles, I know this character's ranges. I'm gonna do pretty much the same thing I do with this character. I'm gonna do the same thing I do with Scorpion with Johnny Cage, but in a slightly different way. That's pretty much the way I go. I don't know about you, but that's one of the issues I run into is I play similar with every character, only I adapt to their special moves.
Yeah, I just hope the same thing works over and over again.
Which is like
No,
in
like,
MK9, one of the hardest characters for me was Nightwolf, because for some reason,
mm,
I love the fact that he was so close range, his shoulder barge, all that stuff. It was very good, and I kind of found him in a weird way to be similar to Johnny Cage. Of course, he was much slower and all that stuff. So I found some similarities where I was able to adapt Johnny Cage, his style that I used, to Nightwolf's. But then I would go and use it from Johnny Cage to say Sector, and that was a nightmare. Whereas Scorpion and Sector, they have some similarities for the way I play. So for me, like in tag team, it was a lot about figuring out different teams, just different characters that really fit the way I play, and I can continuously just spam them instead of having to develop a new style, and it just took too much time for me.
that's what I did too. Like, other than the fact that I was playing for about a month already, we remember having people come out and play it, and my wanted to go through this. We've had like 10 rematches because I keep beating him with Melina and Scorpion as a tag team. It's like, let's do it again. Like, dude, I'm bored now. I don't want to play. It's sunny outside. I want to go outside and play. Like, I'm like 13 at this age too, but it's like I beat you 10 times already. Like, I'm right now to the point I just want to quit. So like, lose purpose so I can leave. The problem is that when you lose my family, it's like the biggest win the other person ever had. Like,
Yeah.
dude, I just gave up because I don't want to play no more.
Yeah, I feel you there. I feel you there. It's like if you lose, that's immediately you gotta get as me and my brother say, revanche, which in Portuguese means revenge. You immediately got to give a rematch, and if the other guy doesn't give you that rematch, then he's not a man. So essentially, it's always just constant rematches, constant revanche, and it's really just a never-ending thing. It's so I feel you there. It's all about competition.
Well, for thing is too, like another relative of mine, I'll play him, and I'll beat him with every character. As soon as he's grabbed Raiden, and he beats me with Raiden, he so happens to beat me. He's like, "Oh, I win. I beat you with Raiden. That's my best character, so I'm obviously better than you." I'm like, that is just terrible logic.
Yeah, the best player is whoever can win with the majority of them.
Mm. No, who was your best, like, obviously best character in the whole game?
Well, I mean, for me, it's pretty much always in whether it's MK9 or MKX. My go-to is always Johnny Cage. I just love how fast he is. I feel pretty comfortable with pretty much all of his special moves. It's in particular in MK9. In MK9, I felt very confident anytime I used Johnny Cage. In MKX, there was a few things that I wasn't as comfortable with, like his split punch or his shadow elbow. You know, the way he like pops you up in the air and stuff like that. In
Hmm.
MKX, I can't even remember. That move's in there, right? It's in MKX too, I think. Maybe
Which
it's
one?
the one where he ends up, if you do the enhanced version, he like knocks him flying up in the air with an elbow. Well,
Yeah, he does.
that's an MKX
Or
too,
think
right?
so.
Okay. Yeah. In
Yeah, I think so.
MK9, that was a move that I consistently was able to pull off easily. Where in MKX, for some reason, there was just some certain little maybe differences in timing, or maybe there was just something about it. I don't know. I had a harder time doing it. So in MK9, Johnny Cage was without a doubt my number one character, and then I also really liked using Kung Lao because he was just a spam god. You could literally do anything you wanted with Kung Lao, and if you were going against somebody who didn't know how to defend against his spin thing, where he does a tornado and he sends you flying up in the air, then you were pretty much just guaranteed combos for days. So I really liked using Kung Lao as well.
No, mines were. The thing is, I had to learn the hard way that the game changed drastically. Like I watched the hype when it was getting revealed, like E3. I kept my eyes out for every video, every picture that came out on MK Warehouse, and I'm just like, all right, let's just see it. Like I said, oh, it's 2D now, but that won't be too bad. The first character I grab when I come to this game is Sonya because that was like my best character in MK vs DC.
Okay.
And I tried to do the little bicycle kick she had. She ain't had it no more, so it was like, oh, this is gonna be harder than I thought. So it completely changed my whole gameplay. It's like, all right, well, I don't have the Sonya Blade method anymore, so who can I play with now? I went to Melina, and I just played every character at that point too, but I was playing online, and a guy was really good with Melina. Showed me how to do a couple of juggles, pop ups. I'm just like, this is really, I like this character now. And he took time out his day to show me how to play with this person online. I was like, this might be the best day of my life now. I have a good character to play with. Um, but yeah, just Melina was one. Scorpion was a decent one. When it came to finishing the challenge tower at the end, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the whole thing in a little bit, but finishing the last challenge on the challenge tower was with Sub Zero. And if you can beat all four of those characters with that one bar of life, then well, a character you're not that good with, then that was good enough for me. Sub Zero's up there now.
Yeah, Sub Zero was a very difficult character for me to use. I don't know about you, but there was something about him. I think it was maybe because how slow he was. There was just something about him that I really never got into using him, and he is one of my top 4 or 5 favorite characters in the series. So I wanted to use him all the time. I tried to use him quite a bit, but I could just never really get comfortable
Mm-hmm.
with him, and I could never really be consistently good with him. Like if I would take him online, I always got my ass beat. Against the computer, I could do some things here and there, but combos were just, I don't know, I couldn't really work with him. I don't know, he was just weird.
Yeah.
Were there any characters in
Who was
particular
it?
that you had issues with?
Johnny Cage.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is Johnny Cage your favorite?
Um. So I didn't. Nothing against Johnny Cage. I like Johnny Cage as a character, but I remember playing the story mode and not really doing research on the gameplay, just the story mode. And I'm trying to do the X-ray move. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait to do this. I get my X-ray build up, and then do it. And it's just like, come on. And then nothing happens. Like what the heck? What's going on? At that point too, I didn't know what Perry was
Yeah.
either. So it's so what just happened? I just got my ass kicked by Reptile, and I would do this about the next 4 matches, so the rest of the matches, until I realized, oh, you have to hit him for it to work.
Yeah.
That sucks. No.
Yeah, that was. I remember the first time I tried that too. It was kind of confusing because I think that he was probably like the 6th or 7th character I tried out. I think I tried out first Scorpion, then Sub Zero, then I think Kung Lao because I really
Mm-hmm.
liked the gameplay footage that they showed of him, and then I think maybe Sector or Cyrax, and then probably Johnny Cage. And I remember doing the same thing. I tried to hit my brother. We were doing a bunch of matches together, and I just couldn't get this X-ray to go. I couldn't figure out exactly why. I was in various ranges, and then he randomly hit me by accident while I was doing the X-ray, and it actually pulled off. And a similar thing to that was with Cyber Sub-Zero, where of course you had to jump up in the
Hmm.
air and then do it and then land on him with the drop kick.
Yeah.
That was a pain in the ass for me too because I couldn't figure out.
You dash.
Yeah, it was a pain in the
Yeah,
ass.
you're
It
trying to
was
figure it out, but if like if someone dash, you're out the way.
yeah,
If they don't hit you, like it's just a waste of all meter.
yeah. I think his
But
was
that's
probably the
when I
easiest one to
learned.
stop.
Yeah, well, the thing is, 'cause that's when I realized that, huh, I don't have to use this meter for just X-rays. I can use it for enhancement moves to make me get a little bit more further ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
So I train myself to play these games now. I don't watch other people's gameplay because I think I'm the smartest person in the world, so why not? But um, no, I train myself to play these games because I there's nothing better than failure to teach you. So
Exactly.
when
Yeah.
you lose this Johnny Cage forever, it's like, huh, maybe if I use the meter instead of just wait for X-ray, that might help. Especially when you play against Shao Kahn and your X-ray does 20% of pretty much nothing to him, and his X-ray does 52%. Like, you're not going to win with X-rays. You're going to have to actually fight.
Yeah, I think that's probably like the
Speaking
biggest
of
thing that
Shao,
you notice between if you watch like a Evo or whether whatever pro tournament you're watching is that for the most part the pros don't really use X-rays whatsoever. Like they only use them in certain
mm-hmm,
conditions where they're pretty much about to win, or they have just a little bit of meter and their opponent's clearly making a mistake or something like that. For the most part, they only use
yeah,
combo breakers or they use enhanced combos. That way they can of course build up more combos and have more juggles and stuff like
yeah.
that. So once I realized once I started really watching those a little bit more consistently, which I still probably should do a better job if I'm trying to cover Mortal Kombat, but I started to realize that X-rays,
Mm-hmm.
as cool as they are, that's pretty much all they are. They're just cool, and they're a great way to do a bunch of damage if
Yeah.
you're playing against somebody who's not great at the game itself.
They're good to use in the story mode. They're good to use on the arcade ladders, but as on competitively, it's not worth it.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think that
And
using X-rays pretty much the most useful way is the most useful time is when you're going against one of the sub bosses or the bosses, because realistically, like, what are you gonna do? A combo break Shao Kahn? That's just not gonna happen. The enhanced moves they
yeah.
do some damage, but they're not gonna do that much, especially because you can't really just combo them. So that's when I say the
Mm-hmm.
X-rays come in most in handy. Yeah, that and the playing against the computer, but online or against other people that know what they're doing, they just kind of become predictable and they just become kind of a weakness in your game if you only use X-rays instead of actually using the enhanced moves.
Yeah, we can talk about that in NKX because I'm like, gonna love that video. He might actually have him join us for that one because he. Oh, just wait for that one. Trust me, X-rays, me go hand in hand. But um, no, the who's your who was what is your opinion of Shao Kahn? I guess I'm saying say.
Well, I have a few opinions. Let's see. Shao Kahn himself as a character, his personality, even his look. I really love Shao Kahn. I've always loved him, and he's in my opinion one of the very best video game villains in general. I think that overall his persona, the way he taunts you, the way I love trash talk. So the fact that he just does that, he roasts you so badly, I love that. But in MK9, when you play against him in the arcade ladder, if you're playing on medium or easy, something like that, he is pretty easy to beat. Once you figure out that if you just jump behind him, do an uppercut essentially, you can combo that with a few punches and stuff like that. Then he does become pretty beatable. He becomes pretty simply to predict, and he's not that tough of a challenge. But then you play against him in the story mode. Even if you're playing on easy, he is the king of spam. He's the king of cheese. There's just nothing you can really do except for play the game like 30, beat him, go against him 20 to 30 times before you're actually going to even get close to stopping him. There might be people out there that are good enough to beat him on the first try and stuff like that. I'm not going to debate that. But for me personally,
Mm-hmm.
playing against him in the story mode, that was an absolute nightmare because it literally took me hours and hours and hours to beat him in one single playthrough. And I like the character, like I said, I like everything about him. But when the characters, especially the bosses, they're overpowered, but not in a fun way. They're just kind of, they have that stupid shield that when you hit them, it doesn't really move them at all. They just kind of eat it and just walk through it. And they have kind of cheesy mechanics like that. That really annoys me. So I like Shao Kahn, even in MK9, But I think that they made him a little bit too cheesy and overpowered in the story mode, which makes sense because he's the last character you have to beat. But at the same time, it was too annoying in my opinion.
See, I like Shao Kahn more because he is hard to beat. Like, yes, it's a pain in the ass, but when you can literally work hard and you actually beat the character, it's like, yes, I feel rewarded for this. I did a good job on this. No one else did this but me. I finished this fight.
Yeah, for sure. I get
Versus
that.
when it's just easy, when it's just easy, like with Corrupt Chinook, I like, oh, I beat you in 3 tries. Woohoo!
Doesn't really become an
And
accomplishment, I guess.
also, yeah, um, 'cause it took me. I'm gonna tell you, no, it wasn't until like right before MKX came out before I actually beat Shao Kahn in the story mode
That long?
because, or maybe like right, no, okay, maybe not that long, maybe like right after Injustice 2 because it was just that was hard for me because also as well, once I found out a couple months ago, listen to another cast old stuff, Cyborg saying that if you keep hit and retry, it eventually gets easier for you.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I'll probably play 5, 10 tries. Cause I got tired of hearing the same lines over and over again about from watching the Shao Kahn fight with Trier. And so like, all right, screw it, I'm quitting. I'll stop. Then next time I play, I have to restart over.
Yeah, so
Like
basically you
it
would
get
just
equally,
constantly reset. You would
yeah.
always just
Now if I
put
would have
yourself in a
known,
corner.
if I knew that, I would have just kept hitting it until it got easier to the point like, all right, just hit me. I won't fight back now. I would have done that. Might have taken me 24 hours, but I would have done it eventually.
Well, I mean, you did eventually do it though,
Um,
so I guess
yeah.
it works out.
Well, the other thing too was just the character they gave you to fight with. I was not good with him at all.
Yeah,
Which we can break down the story mode in a little bit because that's gonna be, like I said, that's the biggest part of this. That's the biggest chunk from MK9.
for sure. For sure. There's a lot
Yeah,
to talk about there. Good and
yeah,
bad.
uh, yeah. Challenge Tower. You're doing?
Challenge Tower, I liked the idea, and I talk about this in a few of my videos. I've talked about it before. I really like the idea of the Challenge Tower, and I hope that they do bring it back. Because there were a few things, and a lot of these, they actually kind of came to my mind because of the Nethercast. So big shout out to those guys over there. Um,
Yeah,
one of the things I really liked about that was there were a lot of different aspects of that Challenge Tower that you can't really do in any other parts of Mortal Kombat, in any of the games. For example, there were those challenges where like the zombies would be walking up to you and you have to shoot them with Striker, or you have to use Johnny's projectiles to knock them backwards, the Tarkatans and stuff like that. So there were different types of gameplay that you never really experienced in other Mortal Kombat games, and even in MK9. So I like the fact that they did implement a lot of variety in the way you can play, the things you can do throughout those 300 challenges. And of course, some were easy, some were painfully, devastatingly, just hard to do. Like the one where, what was it? It was Goro, Kintaro, Melina, and then Shao Kahn, right? That was
yeah.
one of the that one was so hard to do. It took me forever to do. I think that was actually probably harder than the last one. So,
That
I
is the
mean,
last one.
that is the last one. That is right. There was one other one that was extremely difficult that had Sindel in there. Which one was that?
Hmm. I
I
think it
can't.
was like that was 4 too.
Yeah,
I think I know what second one you're talking about. I
yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
tell you the number because it's been
Years.
forever since I played it, but
Yeah, that's right.
half
That's
a
right.
decade at least. But first I want to go and tell you that you're like underwater half of where you're talking about.
Oh, for real? How about now? Is
Yeah,
that better now or what?
it's better now.
Okay.
Yeah, but just to recap, pretty much what he just said was it was a fun idea. Hopefully, bring it back, and just the fact that the idea what they came up with was so much funner. The Shadow Monk's Act 1, Shadow Monk's Act 2, like a little callbacks to it. Or you take, I don't know, you go to, like you said, shooting the zombies with Striker, or tagging in and out with John Cage and Striker. It taught you how to play with some of these characters. So it was like a callback to Deadly Alliance and Deception, with like going to train with the other characters. But at the same time, you just had to learn how to use these characters the right way on your own. There's no set combos to like, all right, do this and you can go. It's like just do these moves like we posted on the screen. Special moves, hit the head 5 times, hit the leg 3 times, um, body shots. Like you have to like learn how to. All right, this does that. That does this. This move is unblockable. So it's like worked out great. I think the hardest thing from there was the one I still haven't beat yet is the Striker versus 3 Shao Kahn. And I think he said it best too. I'm not sure if he said this, but it's like, how is this a fair fight? No, that is like probably my favorite thing from MK9 altogether. Like even looking past the roster, story mode, endings is just like that was my favorite thing.
The challenge
But
tower in general, you mean?
yeah,
Okay.
challenge her altogether.
Am I sounding better, by the way? My audio's good?
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're good now.
All right, sweet. Yeah, I like I said, I definitely really enjoyed the challenge tower, and that's something I hope that they bring back in a future game. I just hope,
Hopefully 11.
and yeah, hopefully, and I think that there's one thing that they desperately need to fix, and I want your opinion on this as well. The prize for being the challenge tower. How disappointed were you, or were you actually excited about that? I personally, I hated it. I really hated the prize, but I don't know. What do you think about it?
I didn't really know what to expect from it either, because um, it wasn't neither here nor there, but it was to most people it's useless and stupid, which it is. But at the same time, it's just like 'cause I was a teenager at that point too. But I wasn't like, oh, toilet paper and Melina. That's gonna get my rocks off. Like no, it's like yeah, maybe if it was like a sexy Katana, sexy Jay, sexy Sonya, been better. No, we literally have a monster.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
this is pre Mortal Kombat X. There's no lips. There's just all teeth and toilet paper. How is that sexy?
I don't know. That's exactly my point. And there was actually a guy, I can't remember who it was in my comments. I can't remember who exactly it was, but he was saying that he actually really enjoyed the costume because he really liked the fact that he found Melina so sexy. And he really liked the fact that they were giving these female characters these crazy, just slutty, insanely provocative looks. And he really liked the prize. And I could not believe that because when I think of doing something so difficult, like beating something that literally it gave me I was stressed out thinking about having to beat that last challenge. It took me forever. And to beat that and being so excited and having avoided spoilers to what the prize was going to be, avoiding it for so long, finally beating it, and then getting a costume that is literally just Melina in essentially toilet paper, like you said. And that was supposed to be something to really satisfy going through so much stress. I was just so pissed
Days of
off.
stress,
Yeah, days,
months
weeks,
of stress.
literally months. Yeah, and that was so disappointing. Honestly, I was hoping it'd be like maybe an unlockable character or something that you can actually use consistently and actually have it be something different, not just be half
Yeah,
naked
that
Melina.
wasn't on the challenge tower,
Yeah, exactly. I just couldn't believe it.
and that's the one thing I think I didn't like about the roster. I think maybe if what they should have done is have you unlock the like I was like for example right now I'm playing WWE 2K 19
Mm-hmm.
completely off topic but this hear me out as you go on through the game you have 2 options. Well, first of all, you have option you can buy the accelerator pack, which means you can unlock everything in the game, which if you make a couple extra bucks, yeah, you can spend a couple extra bucks to do it. Or in their my player mode, as you go along and play, you also like you finish this chapter. Like, all right, you get this character now. All right, you get these characters now. So I think what they should have did with MK9, if just make you work for it. Like you have to be it to get these characters. You finish the story arc from Mortal Kombat 1, you get Sonya, Johnny Cage, Liu Kang, Sub Zero, and Scorpion, and Kano, just for a little treat.
Yeah, I agree.
And then MK2, once you finish that trilogy, you get the characters you just played with. So I think you start with like the 7 characters from the first game, or 8 if you want to include Sing Song, and then go from there. Like you beat that story mode, all right. You beat that arc, you get to the next arc. You beat that one, you get Smoke, Jade, Katana, Baraka, excuse me, Reptile, all that. Just that makes you work for it. Like saying, I earned these characters. I didn't even just giving them. Only thing people you earn in that game is Quan Chi and Cyber Sub Zero. Which I kind of got to ask too. What is your opinion on that one?
I just want to say one thing real fast before I get into Cyber Sub Zero. In my opinion, the fact that there's so much emphasis on DLC now, we're pretty much
Mm-hmm.
seeing the end of unlockable characters. As time goes on, they see that there's an opportunity to make money on pretty much just about any character they sell. So I think that there's less, I'm not going to say there's less desire because we all know that Ed Boon loves secrets, but I think that it's
Mm-hmm.
less convenient for them to make characters unlockable.
Well, that's
Whereas,
the thing too. I'm not saying like take the DLC characters from MK9
yeah,
like Ring and
mhm,
Kenshi, Scarlet, Freddy. I'm not saying
yeah,
make them
but have,
lockable characters. I mean, like
yeah,
you can still buy those characters separately. You don't have to have those. But like the people already in the game, already in your base game, don't make them all unlock. Don't make them all unlocked. And then it's like, oh, I can play with this character. But then when we go to the story mode, you can't even touch that character
yeah.
because they're not available.
Yeah, I do actually really miss the whole having just a question mark there, not knowing who it is, having to unlock them as you go,
Even
and
if you knew
it
who
really
it
felt rushed.
was, even if you knew who they were though, too.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was Deception. I was playing Deception recently. If you play the base game, like Sindel's locked. But if you go to the puzzle combat, she's already unlocked. It's like, oh, so she's in this game. So
Really,
I'm not
I
saying you have
never
to keep it
noticed
a
that.
secret, but yeah, if you go back and just look at the roster for both of those, you'll see it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, just like make like so if you like I said, if you're gonna do that, have the people from Mortal Kombat 1 unlocked already, then 2 you can unlock them as you beat the story mode. It's like, oh, you want these players? Oh, you gotta beat the story mode unless you have a PC. And you can do all the hacking you want, but then you miss out the actual because I don't have to play PC, I just do Xbox and it's like
Yeah, same here.
they take out all the fun. Like the only thing I like about PC is the different mods they come up with. Like, oh, you can play Liu Kang from Mortal Kombat. You can play Liu Kang as his Mortal Kombat 4 attire. Like, oh yeah, how can I unlock that? Oh, that's not in the game. You have to make it. Like, so I would do more work for a character. No thanks.
Yeah, that actually
That's
gives
just
me
me.
that reminds me. I want to give a shout out to Judgment Fist, who is a great
Hmm.
artist. She does a lot of she helps me out a lot with my videos. She does a lot of thumbnails, and she does a lot of art. Whether it's Mortal Kombat X, MK9, and actually in MK9 she puts in her own characters. For example, she made Ashra, and she put her
Hmm.
actually in the game. She's completely playable. She did that with a few other characters as well, and she actually adds a bunch of costumes, a lot of stuff. So she does a lot of good work. And to be honest with you, if you look at her content, I'll leave her all her info in the description down below. If you check her stuff out, a lot of her characters and her costumes and all that stuff, it looks way better than what NetherRealm themselves release. So big shout out to
Yeah.
her. She's a very good person, and overall, I really like her work. So the mod community is very strong with MK, and that's a very very good thing. As you mentioned, I don't play on PC either, so I don't really get to experiment with it. But I like the fact that those people do exist. If you want to play
Yeah.
Ashra, you can in MK9. If you want to play, I don't know, just name any character.
Reiko.
Yeah, Reiko. You can find him somewhere, and you will be able to play that character. So that's a very very
Yeah.
fun thing to do.
I think that was intriguing. I thought, oh, Reiko's in the game because I'm one of those weird people who like Reiko. Not because he's a good character, just because there's not much known about him that gives me that intrigue. Like, I want to see how he plays. The only thing I know is he wears Shao Kahn's helmet every once in a while. Just like, all right, let's make him in more games. Oh, we're not? All right, never mind. I'll never know about this character.
Yeah, Reiko's another one of those guys that I think had quite a bit of potential. I think that,
Hmm.
being Shao Kahn's general and having, being so close to him for so long and really understanding, not just like, I understand he's probably never going to be as strong as Shao Kahn, but one of the
Oh
things that
yeah,
was great about Shao Kahn was he wasn't just this giant, strong dude. He was also very, very smart because you can't just conquer so many realms by being this extremely powerful guy. You have to have knowledge and stuff like that. And I think that having been his understudy for so long, Reiko could have been a very interesting character to really mix into there when it comes to being a competitor alongside Melina and Kodo Khan to be the next ruler of Outworld. That might still happen, but if I'm not mistaken, he's dead in the comics, right? In the MKX comics, I think he died. So that
I
might be an
think
issue.
the other guy said best. Like the comics are only related when they want them to be related.
Exactly, yeah, that's true. So who knows what they're gonna do with that? But I think he would definitely be a cool
Hmm.
character to see come back, especially because they need to add some old blood, but also have him new blood because I think that there's a lot of people out there don't really know Reiko. We know him because we love Mortal Kombat, but there's a lot of guys out there who don't really know much about the story. I mean, if they've just played the game here and there. But once Reiko comes in there, I think it'd be a bit of nostalgia for people that really know Mortal Kombat, really love Mortal Kombat. But it'd also be an interesting idea for a new character that people are going to see. Okay, he has ties to Shao Kahn. What exactly are they? And they don't have to necessarily keep what they did in MK4 and all that stuff. They can improve it and do some other things to make them more relevant to the future of the series. I think that'd be a very cool idea. But who knows what the hell these guys are going to
Like
do?
let me just put it like this because this is pretty much just open table at this point. I'm the guy who I write a bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right now I'm writing anime with my buddy, but I'm also a guy who wrote a few things for Mortal Kombat. And funny enough, Reiko's one of my main characters because you just to explore more on him, to like give you that option, like cool character. Too bad he doesn't really exist. Like he does exist. He just they don't give him the time of day. There's a lot of characters like that. Rain's another one. Rain has gotten the shit stick for so many decades now. It's like, come on, like, what more or less are you gonna do with him?
Yeah, and it's funny because I think Rain is probably the most desired character by, I'm not going to say by all fans, but there's a lot of people out there that are constantly asking for Rain, and they never oblige. They put him in as DLC in MK9, but they need to make him his own actual character in MK11, or people are gonna there might be some riots and stuff going on with some of these MK fans.
Well, the good thing is about MK11, if they are going to go with the Dagon and Taven route, you kind of have to throw Rain in there too because he's also a brother of theirs.
Yeah.
And you saw the interaction on Armageddon with Taven and Rain, but do Dagon and him get along? Do they hate each other? We don't know that because you get one game with that big bombshell, and it's like nothing.
Yeah, they definitely miss a lot of opportunities. That's probably the biggest issue I have with NetherRealm is there's so much potential with so many of these characters that half the time it just feels like I'm not gonna say once again I'm not gonna say that they're lazy necessarily, but they seem to have a knack for really missing the jump on a lot of these opportunities that they have.
When they see it, like, all right, how did it get over? Like, eh, one game enough because you take, excuse me, you take Aaron Black. Like, I'm worried for him because world like character, and then oh well, we can't really do nothing with him, so let's just leave him. He's gonna be missing for next year. He was probably one of everyone's favorite characters because that's like something you guys can relate to almost.
Yeah, he was completely different than everybody else too. So like I
But
guess the
like
only
think about
similarity is a striker because he has guns, but realistically,
it.
he was a cowboy. When the hell do you think
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
gonna see a cowboy in Mortal Kombat?
It was fresh. It was something different. Everyone's like, "Oh, I like the Vora bug character." I'm like seeing him on more for my conquest. Like, oh, I like Colo Khan. Like, so that was kind of new. That was going wrong, but Aaron Black is like, I found a cowboy in Mortal Kombat. Like, that's awesome. I never thought a cowboy could be in Mortal Kombat. I guess they can be now. You just got to give them the time of day, though.
Yeah, it opens the door for different types of characters and things that it kind of just shows that there's so many possibilities that we haven't even
As
thought
long as,
of. If they could just,
as
I don't
long,
know, have a bit more confidence and really go after it.
as long as they don't go the Tekken route,
Yeah.
when you're half bear, half man, or half tiger, half man. I think that's what it is. But
Yeah, Tekken, man, Tekken. I know people love Tekken. I used to like Tekken when I was a little kid, but I don't know, man. This, I have nothing nice to say
my,
about Tekken, to be honest with you.
I never played it really to say nothing nice. When it comes to fighting games, it's just Mortal Kombat strictly. Maybe WWE, but that's as far as I go.
Yeah,
I won't
more or less
play
the same.
Soul Calibur. I won't play Soul Calibur past Soul Calibur 2. I won't play Street Fighter. I never really play Street Fighter. Um, and I think people say like these other games have story too. Like, do they? I thought they were just fighting games. But then you watch us think about like there's so many people the opposites like Mortal Kombat story mode. I thought it was just a fighting game. Like, no, there's so much more. So
Yeah, exactly.
I still kind of see that going back hand in hand sometimes. Like, I'm an idiot. Got it.
Yeah, I have a friend. His name is Corrado, of course, Italian. He
Mm-hmm.
is extremely good at just about every single game he plays. He's borderline pro levels in fighters in Dragon Ball Fighters. He's great at Street Fighter. He's great at Tekken. He's great at all these games, and he loves them for the gameplay aspect of things. I play Mortal Kombat because of the story because I'm not good at the gameplay, so I rely on the story. That's what I love about it. And when I was telling him, when I was asking him because he was loving Tekken 7, I said, well, taking into consideration that I'm only going to play this in single player, essentially, and I'm only going to really be doing it if there's a good story mode, if there's something to really keep me enjoying it offline. And he said, "Wait, what? You play fighting games for the story mode? Like, why would you do that? Like, even Mortal Kombat, why would you play for the story mode?" So a lot of these, fighting games fans, they literally do not understand that even fighting games can have good story modes because they're used to Street Fighter where the characters are just so stupid. Tekken where the characters, like you said, half bear, half whatever the hell they are. They don't understand that story can be good in these fighting games as well if they just take the time to really make it good. Like I talk to John Vogel every once in a while on Instagram, and he's an amazing artist. He's an amazing storyteller and all that stuff. And people like him are what make Mortal Kombat great because the storyline is what really separates Mortal Kombat from the competition. Because gameplay wise, a lot of people say it's not as good as Street Fighter, but from the story mode, there's absolutely no doubt. I mean, from the narrative and from all that stuff, Mortal Kombat's on a level on its own.
Yeah,
Sorry about the little rant
that's
there.
very. No, no, that's what. Yeah, I think that might as well be our good segment to the story mode real quick.
Yeah, all right, let's go ahead. Oh, I will
Yeah.
say one thing about Cyber Sub Zero, as you asked me that question
Oh
before.
yeah, that's right. We completely forget about that.
Yeah, Cyber Sub Zero. I didn't like the idea that much because how can I put this? Like I enjoy the cyber characters. I like Cyrax. I like even Cyber Smoke. I like Sector a lot. But Sub Zero changing into a cyborg, it kind of I didn't really hit with me, especially because of course they somehow, and I don't know how the hell this is. Like I get it, all right. Mortal Kombat has some weird powers and some weird stuff like that, but how did they take their Sub Zero's soul out of a chip and put it back into his body? That's some weird shit that I just can't wrap my head around. But overall, I didn't like the character. I didn't like his gameplay that much. I think they probably could have executed a little bit better, maybe for me to appreciate it. But it may have just been me completely closed down to that type of idea.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? Did you enjoy it at all or what?
Mm-hmm. Because I really don't care for the cyber characters at all.
Mm,
I'm the complete opposite.
okay.
Like I was in it for I was more for the ninjas, pretty much just that at
Yeah.
first. But I didn't hate them either. But the Cyber Sub Zero thing, when it happened, that was cool at first. But then, like I said, as I grew up and did more digging and listen to the other cast, we're gonna give them so many shout outs to these people.
Yeah.
Um, but like listen to them. I can't tell you who said what exactly, but I remember hearing that the reason why they did Cyber Sub Zero was because the pictures of Cyber Smoke went out, got leaked, and it's like, oh, well, we can't do that, so change it
I see.
now. That makes sense, yes, but I don't buy that really. Just for the fact that I think they wanted to try something different because they was changing the whole story, the whole timeline anyway. So it's like we might as well do it. What's another big change we can do? The reason I don't believe it is because they wrote out the story mode from start to finish. They had the animations for it. They did everything for it, and it's like, oh, one character's picture got leaked out. Oh, well, let's change this entire story mode now completely. Now, just on your own writing, like that is a hard process to do, and I don't see them changing. You change one thing, you got to change a lot more things as well. And it might have just been a simple swap between Sub Zero and Smoke, but that simple swap is also why Kung Lao could have died. That's why, because everything was the same in Mortal Kombat from the old timeline to the new timeline until minus like a few retcons or anything, but everything was the same until Sub Zero got took into smoke.
Yeah,
You
pretty
think
much.
about it.
Pretty much, yeah. I don't think there was anything that really
So
drastically changed. Maybe just scenarios and
prior
stuff
to
like
that,
that. Yeah, yeah,
so it's like, so if they would have kept it the same with Sub Zero, when Smoke being taken instead. There's too many S's in his name: Scorpion, Sub Zero, Smoke. But they would have kept it the same. Then I mean, the story would have just been the same rehash of the last game. So I think they just changed it just to be a little cooler, edgier. What I didn't like though, the one thing I didn't like about it was that you got to see human Cyrax, human robot Cyrax, and then you saw human Sector, robot Sector, human Sub Zero, and then Cyber Sub Zero. Well, even though Cyber Smoke's not in the game, he's a huge staple. Why didn't you make that for him just like you did for the other two? You see what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I see what you mean.
That was the one thing I didn't like about the. That was one of the few things I didn't like about the roster. It's like, oh yeah, this is cool. They got it all together, and it's like, oh, we're not going to do a Cyber Smoke. Like a lot of people like Cyber Smoke.
Yeah,
I don't care about Cyber Smoke, but a lot of people love Cyber Smoke. Even if that means you give Smoke a spear of some sort, then do it. Don't just say like, "Oh, he was in the story, so we're not gonna make it." It's like, you know, you fucked up, right?
yeah. I definitely agree with you there. Like literally all the other cyborgs were there, so why not just give them there? And in my opinion, they didn't even have to make them like a completely separate thing like they did with Sub Zero. They could have just even changed his skin because realistically, all
Yeah,
his moves is based on smoke. So it doesn't really. He doesn't have to do things that are robotic. He can just
that,
be a robot that turns into smoke. Who really cares? As long as he's there that you can use if you want to use that skin.
well, yeah, that's pretty much what they did with Cyrax and Sector. So why
Yeah,
not?
exactly,
You
exactly.
know. But also, you take the fact that they were able to give Cyber Sub Zero a classic cyber skin as well. And there's so many people who didn't get classic skins. I
Yeah.
think before we go to story mode, let's talk about some of the costumes
Okay.
um, because let's look at a few of the costumes. What do you think overall? I guess not including DLC.
I did a video about this covering like my favorite costumes and stuff like that, and I think that MK9 overall is pretty decent. I don't remember exactly
Mm-hmm.
which ones I put up because a lot of times, you know, it kind of changes for me based on what I'm feeling like for those specific costumes and stuff like that. But I think overall the costumes were pretty good. Like in particular, I really like Johnny Cage's his tournament costume. When I really love what they did with him.
We're
Just
in the
his
suit.
no, not. I also like that one. That was actually one of the ones that I put as my top five. But even his regular just
Yeah.
chest costume, all that stuff, that was
Mm-hmm.
I really liked that costume. I think it absolutely hit the nail on the head as what Johnny Cage is. He's this brash dude who's got full of confidence. He has this tattoo on him. I really like that costume. And the same thing with Scorpion. I think I've seen quite a bit of people saying that they don't like that costume, but honestly, that's probably my favorite Scorpion costume of all time. Unless I'm thinking, I can't really think of anything else that I like more than that Scorpion costume. So overall, I think the game it has some solid costumes. A few of them were kind of iffy, maybe, but I really like also what they did with Striker, because MK9 I think one of the biggest things that they did with that game was they took a character like Striker, who was pretty much just considered a
Very,
joke
very
character,
cool.
and they made him cool. And a lot of that has to do with his costume. He went from being this, I don't
Yeah.
know, he looked kind of chubby in MK3 to all of a sudden, just
Mm-hmm.
being this badass dude in MK9. And I think they did a great job
Right.
with him in particular. What about you? Any specific
No.
costumes you like or you hate?
Costumes that I like would have to go along with Liu Kang's costume, alternate costume,
Mm-hmm.
because I like all the primaries. Primaries are all great to me. Um, I did one thing I didn't like is when you have costumes like Sonya's, for example,
Okay.
and her alternate costume. Like the original was good; it was in the story mode, but it's like if you're gonna make an alternate costume, at least make it be shown somewhere. So like you could easily set have her in the her alternate costume where it looks like she's on a vacation, then she's undercover hunting down Kano. Versus just like, oh, so here's storyline Sonya, and here's sexy Sonya. Like, what's the point of that? Just like you could say like, oh, she's undercover hunting for Kano. Like, oh, that makes sense. She looks like a ditzy blonde. That works for me. No, you just made a bunch of costumes that didn't have nothing to do with the story at all. Even Scorpion's alternate costume looks like he got um, promoted in Quan Chi's army. It's like adds like a bunch more detail to it. It's not just some yellow ninja. It's like, oh, he got a scorpion on him. He has these little rings on him. This is really cool.
Yeah, I actually really liked that costume, but it did kind of look like he was just wearing armor.
Yeah. Baraka's another one too. Like you seen his at the very beginning, when they're going through the whole Tower of Armageddon, and you see him have this alternate costume. That's cool. I'm like, ah. I mean, if you're going to just show that's all you're going to see of it, you could at least make it look more like Deceptions.
Yeah, for sure.
No, that's just me. This me nitpicking, but
But still, but
attention to detail.
speaking of that costume, I was gonna ask you. I really, really like that Baraka alternate costume. That was one of the costumes that I think was one of the best ones in the game. I think that
Hmm.
it was a good costume for a guy like Baraka who doesn't really get a lot of love from it seemed like developers and of course not from the fans either because they've kind of reduced him to being kind of a joke. So I think that having
Yeah,
a cool costume like that, it kind of really showed that even Baraka can look cool. So what do you think about that costume?
I do like it too. It was made him look like you said cool, but give him the time of day. Another thing, you give these characters the time of day, then they can look awesome. They be don't even look awesome, but be awesome characters.
Yeah, just if they give
Like
them the
look at
opportunity, then I think that a lot of these characters have so much potential that they just don't let them exploit.
yeah, like just look at Johnny Cage. He was such a one-dimensional character. Now he's the one of the leaders of special forces. Not a major leader, but he runs the team.
And he's
Right?
arguably the favorite
Yeah.
of that entire faction because for the most part, everybody else in that faction, whether it be Sonya, Jax, they're not fan favorites anymore. You know, they used to be maybe because of nostalgia and stuff like that, but they haven't really done much in the newer games. Whereas Johnny Cage, whether it's MK9 or MKX, he is very, very important to the storyline. So he's pretty much the only one that really has a big impact on the storyline in both games in terms of
Hmm.
the special forces cast. So I think that they can definitely do what they would to Johnny Cage with a lot of these other characters if they just give them the opportunity to do so.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But the other one I didn't like really too was um Jade. Like, this is just I didn't like. I think the whole thing with the mask for me with the women is just like it is that little intrigue, and just NetherRealm does terrible job with faces, especially with females.
Yeah, awful.
It kind of like exposed that a lot,
Yeah, I think
and that
Katana
and
had the
also
worst
just
face of all time in MK9.
yeah. And I think I can that's the problem too. Like since I love Katana character basis, like we talked about before, um, I look past that, like saying, okay, she's good. She just don't worry about it. Then you see Jade, it's like, I can see the flaws now.
Yeah.
But they've gotten better though. That's the good news though.
Yeah, MKX definitely overall looked a lot better in terms of the
Yeah.
characters, and of course you can talk about the look of the game, how dark it was, and all that stuff as much as you want. But overall, the characters, the way their faces are, the models themselves, they looked a lot better. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, it was a jump in technology. It was going from the 360 and PS3 era to the PS4 and Xbox One era, so of course that makes a
Mm-hmm.
lot of sense. But realistically, you look at other games from that era, Gears of War, for example, games that look amazing, Uncharted, all those games had amazing faces. And without a doubt, if you look at the character models from MK9, they were actually really low quality. Just in general,
Yeah.
everything about them was pretty low quality.
Yeah. I would compare Injustice too, but they were they weren't bad, but I don't know. All I can say is another one did their job. They learned their lessons from MK9 to Injustice to MKX to Injustice 2. Because I think even the if you look at Injustice 2, look at Supergirl when she first revealed, that was a really crappy face.
Yeah, it was awful.
Yeah. And then I'm just looking at it, it's like, I want to like Supergirl, I really do. But you're making it really hard for me to.
I will give them credit though. They do continuously improve, and that's something that for a
Yeah.
while there with the 3D era, they really didn't do. I mean, Deception was always better than Deadly Alliance, and Armageddon was a step down from that. But there
Mm-hmm.
was never really this feeling that they knew what they were trying to do, what they needed to improve, what the fans wanted them to improve. Whereas now it seems like game after game, of course they make mistakes. That's just human, but they do seem like they're going in the right direction and they are improving the look of the game. And hopefully they will realize that there needs to be more colors in the next game and make it more like MK9 in the sense that there was so much beauty in the game, while of course improving the characters and hopefully improving overall the story writing and stuff like that. But we will still talk about that a little bit later on. Before we talk about the story, I want to go ahead and talk about the guest characters as well.